Why the vitriol towards Jerry Jones following the injury? Twitter was on fire with being angry at Jerry Jones because of the contract situation.
Right. Well, Dak Prescott is the third different quarterback ever to play on the franchise tag. Drew Brees did it once, and Kirk Cousins did it twice. And both of those players were able to make all 16 starts in the year that they played on the tag. So Dak's unique in the fact that he only lasted 5 before suffering a season-ending injury. And so I think there's this sense that, hey, you got first-round production out of a quarterback you drafted in the 4th round, and you weren't fair to him. And the reality, I think, is somewhere in between. Ultimately, in July, when it came right down to it, Dan, and it's the deadline for either signing a multi-year deal or not, Dak made the choice. The Cowboys had a lot of money on the table. Obviously, it wasn't enough in Dak's mind. They wanted a long-term deal. He wanted a 4-year deal because he felt like other quarterbacks, that's what they had gotten on their extensions. The Cowboys' philosophy is to sign players for longer terms so they can spread the cap impact early in the deal. And it didn't get done. And so when the player gets hurt in a situation like this, I think everybody has great sympathy for him and not the billionaire owner who didn't get the deal done. And it's really, the criticism is fair from the standpoint of, the Cowboys have always gotten their quarterback deals done. Like Troy Aikman was never put in this position. Tony Romo was never put in this position. But Dak made decisions along the way that contributed to that. And they did offer an awful lot of money. It's not like they weren't willing to make him one of the highest paid quarterbacks in football. But this was the risk he assumed, unfortunately.
What is the business side of Dak Prescott moving forward?
Well, it creates a lot of unknowns for the very facts that I described, that we've never been in a situation like this. Although, thinking back on 2006 when Drew Brees played on the franchise tag, he was in a worse situation. The Chargers already had Phillip Rivers on their roster. Drew was franchise tagged and suffered a career-threatening shoulder injury on the final week of the season. So he had a more serious injury than Dak and less time to recover before any team, whether it was the Chargers or the Dolphins or ultimately the Saints, would sign him to a deal. So Dak has more time than that. Whether both sides decide that, hey, given all the unknowns coming off an injury of this magnitude and the fact that they're probably not going to see him play a game, almost certainly not going to see him play a game before those decisions are made, it wouldn't surprise me if he winds up playing another year on another franchise tag.
Yeah, that's what I thought.